guys, how's it going and welcome to the Minute channel. This is gonna be an interesting review. I just finished The Last of Us Part 2 not long ago. This is gonna be my non-spoiler review. I am planning on doing a podcast with my buddy Spencer from the Shin Megami Tensei Network to talk about the game in detail, in spoilers and everything, so check that out. But today we're gonna be talking about pretty much the game, and I feel really conflicted about this game. There's a lot of stuff that I liked, some stuff that I didn't like, and pretty weird mix of both, really. So let's go ahead and talk about this, and we're gonna start with the story. So the story of The Last of Us, it's an interesting story, and I kind of feel like it's weird for me to actually talk about this without spoiling anything, because there's a lot of stuff that happens very early on, and just carries as consequences throughout the latest part of the game. So what I'm gonna say is, the way that the story was presented and the way that it was shown to the people was very bad. And I'm not saying that the story is bad itself, because I think there are some really good points that they were trying to make in the story that they kind of make sense, but the way that the story was executed was very poorly executedly done. Like, I don't know how they even thought that it was a good idea to make it the way they did, because it does not work at all the way that it was made. The pacing is awful in this game as well. There was a lot of things that feel really inconsequential at the moment. Obviously, over time, you're kind of like, okay, well, I get it, but, you know, you kind of just don't need that part of it there or whatever. So there's a lot of parts that are just kind of, it's a jumbled mess. I mentioned in my title, a beautiful mess. This game has some beautiful moments, really well shot, really well directed. There is a lot of cinematic moments that make you feel emotional and alive, and there's a lot of stuff going on. However, that aspect, there's also a lot of moments where the game just doesn't know what's going for. There's a lot of things that are built up, not really focused on. For example, there's this many different new enemies that you meet, or many new different groups that you meet throughout the story and everything like that. One of them being the Scars, or the Seraphites, which is kind of this group of cult members and stuff. And that's not like, well, you get to see a little bit of their side and what they're out about and everything. It's never really built up, and nothing really comes out of it. Nothing, it doesn't matter anything. Like, the group might have just been random thugs, and it would have been the same thing, because it doesn't build up to anything. It was an interesting concept where they build up all these different groups with different things and everything, like Wolf, which is also a really big one. It doesn't really, I don't even know what the Wolves are about. They don't really have a clear build up to them, and it feels so odd for me, because The Last of Us, the first one, had a lot of good build up into things. Naughty Dog is really good at world building. Everything is placed there for a purpose, and it connects to each other in a way that makes sense. The world building is beautiful and scary and terrific, but in a beautiful sense. This game doesn't have that. Like, it's built up and it has stuff, but why is it there? What's the purpose of that part? The purpose has a specific plotline element, but it doesn't really go out beyond that, and that was something that I was really looking forward to seeing more of, which unfortunately wasn't here. There is a overuse of what I will call really badly placed flashbacks. That is one of the things that grind me in video games and movies, when there is a flashback after flashback after flashback, and you're supposed to be feeling all these emotions, but it doesn't really land because they're not placed in the order that they're supposed to be placed. So in this case, I think that The Last of Us suffers from really poorly editing and maybe really poorly constructed storyline. I don't think the storyline itself is bad. I do think there is a lot of really good stuff about it, and I we'll probably like to talk about it in detail in the actual game, but I think what a lot of people's issues is with the game is not the story itself, but the way that it was presented to them. I think spoilers didn't really help at all either, because there was a lot of misconception as far as a lot of the things that were coming out for spoilers and everything, and it's clearly reflected in how some people are acting and talking in the comments. But at the end of the day, I do think that there was some stuff in this game that it just had some issues in the story. That being said, I really liked the game, and I thought that the game was really good, but story-wise, I just thought some of the elements it just were not there where I wanted them to. Moving on to gameplay, because gameplay is actually I love the gameplay in this game a lot. It is really similar to the previous game, so it's not like you pick up the controller and you suddenly just have to learn all the controllers all over again and everything is new or whatever. So there's a lot of the same elements from the original game. However, in this game you get to really experience new things. Ellie is very different from Joel as far as the way that she plays and fights and everything. And it's nice to see kind of like a different because I played The Last of Us 1 again a little bit before this game, so it's pretty fresh in my mind still, the gameplay and everything. So some of the gameplay aspects really struck me as, wow, there's a lot of really cool stuff that they did with this game, and I really enjoyed it. The game is much more bloodier. There's a lot more action when it comes to the actual fighting and everything. I love the dodging mechanic, which you actually dodge when people are trying to hit you, or even bullets when they're trying to shoot you. You can avoid the bullets and everything, and that is like super cool. I think timing and everything is really fun, and I really like that aspect of the game. Overall, the exploration and the way that you can approach situations is really interesting. For example, right almost at the end of the game, there's a section where there's a bunch of enemies, but there's a lot of tall grass. I literally just crouched and I crouched the entire way. I didn't fight a single enemy. I didn't kill a single enemy. I literally just crouched. I didn't have many items for attacking and fighting and everything, so I couldn't really do much other than hide. But the fact that the game allows you to completely crouch and just go half a mile crouching and actually like avoiding all the fights and everything, it does reflect that the gameplay really has clear elements that are good, and I think this is a really good gameplay. I think the elements of it is really fun, and I really enjoy my experience with the actual fighting and everything. The other character that you play, Abby, is a completely different type of character, completely set of weapons and everything. I love the variety and everything, but I'm not gonna lie, I think Ellie's set of weapons was better than Abby's. Just kind of saying that. It just worked better for me. I think I got really used to it and everything. I don't really want to talk spoilers because I think I could at this point, but I really don't want to. But gameplay wise, I love the gameplay. I think the gameplay is really good, it's really fun, and everything that I wanted from another The Last of Us games in the gameplay department is definitely there. So we're going to talk about presentation. Now, presentation for me is the performance of the game. How did it look? How did it feel? Music and everything like that. It's just in the packet overall. This game is so beautiful, so breathtaking. There are times where you just want to chill and look at what's going on in the screen. You want to just take a pause and just take a screenshot of what's going on. This game is cinematic in that sense. It's made to be look pretty, and in a sense it does feel like the pinnacle of gameplay. It feels the pinnacle of game design. The game design and the way the game looks, it's great. It does feel like this is borderline next-gen quality when it comes to the graphics, when it comes to the way the characters look. For example, you can see in some of expressions when you're talking to Joel, for example, you can see like his veins on the arms and little bits of hair everywhere and everything. There's a lot of elements like that, and I feel like this part of the game, when it comes to the actual way that it looks, is fantastic. It's really good. Soundtrack and music, guys, this game has some of the best soundtracks that I've heard this year, and I heard some really good games with Final Fantasy and Persona, so I'll tell you, this game has also really good music. It's phenomenal, it's emotional. The person that wrote the music really knows when to hit things at the right time, and there is an element of everything that you get to see, because there are parts, for example, Ellie plays the guitar and it plays kind of part of the story in a sense, and there's points where she just stops and plays the guitar, and that is really cool. I really like that stuff. The guitar playing is good. You actually can play yourself with with your controller and everything. I was actually playing some songs that I knew from my guitar and everything. So I like that a lot. I thought that element there was really cool as well. I think that was one of the cool things, cool features. Not a big deal, but I thought it was interesting and cool. It really made me happy that I could see that, because you see this on games sometimes, but it's like a little dumb gimmick. But in this game, I've already seen people making full covers of guitar songs and everything. So definitely they did a good job with it and everything. I like that a lot. Really cool stuff. And overall, the game just performed well. I actually never had a single performance issue. I played the entirety of the game. I think my run was 25 hours, and I never encountered glitches. I never encountered anything of that kind of stuff. The game just performed well. I played this on the PS4 Pro, and I just realized the game just looked well and played well the entire of the time. I never had any kind of issues like that. If there's one thing that I will say on that aspect is the PS4 was very loud. I think this game really worked the PS4 to its full capacity. Whatever that might be, like is extremely loud. And even when I was streaming the game, people could hear the fan because of how loud it was. So it's definitely putting all the power, getting all the juice out of the PS4, which is good because that's what the consoles are for, to give us the maximum entertainment possible. And in this case, you can see that. One last thing that I want to say before I finish this review is the accessibility aspects of this game. This game actually focused a lot on little things that some games don't really care for. And a lot of the stuff is interesting because you as an able person, or me as an able person, don't really care for this stuff. A lot of this stuff doesn't matter to us, but this game had so many features that you can customize and toggle through and everything like that, from little things like being able to hear certain things or breathe underwater for a limited time or stuff like that, to very important things like control customization, like changing the gamma colors so that people that are blind or colorblind will be able to play the game the way that they want to look at it and everything like that. All those accessibility features are something that I find almost groundbreaking because almost no games have any of this stuff, and I like this a lot. I think that they really truly did try to accommodate to a lot of people that they really want people to experience the game, and it does feel good when people get to experience the game that they want to experience it, because at the end of the day, that's part of the game, right, and everything. So I like that a lot. I took advantage of some of those features because they were just there and it was part of the game, you know. It's part of the experience and everything. And this, not only are some of them really good, but some of them can really easy to. For example, there is one where you can toggle on and off that is auto pickup. They actually pick up your items for you as you walk along them and everything, so you don't actually have to go and click the button 10 times to pick up everything. The computer will automatically have the character pick up the stuff for you. So like that, why is this not part of the game? You know, it's such an easy thing, but it makes sense. I like that a lot. It's a cool feature. Anyway, that is pretty much in this review here. This is my first game that I rated in this game, or the first game that I talked about that I'm not gonna give it a rating to. I'm conflicted on what the rating will be for this game, because there are some aspects that were really good, some aspects that really grinded me, and some aspects that I'm very conflicted on when it comes to actually story details and everything. I usually make a habit of like averaging it around and everything like that, but this time, one, I really don't want to, and two, the experience with the game was mixed enough, but I do think this is a good game. I don't think this deserves kind of like the hate that it's getting from a lot of people, but I definitely see why a lot of people dislike the game. But my thoughts on it will be, play the game, see it for yourself, and experience what you think of the game, because I feel like a lot of people just make an assumption based on spoilers, but you won't really get the full picture until you actually play the whole game. Although, again, flawed in some aspects, especially story-wise, but I think that there is really something there that you may or may not like. And again, at the end of the day, this game was made to be experienced. It's really more of an experience than a game like itself. I think that Naughty Dog they're interesting in this one because it is not just a game. It's more like a really long interactive movie with gameplay parts, and you see this a lot with their games, but this one particularly was like, it was crafted to be that, and it's really hard to just go and with spoilers and not playing the entire game and not knowing everything. So that's my advice on that. Check it out if you want to check it out. Probably wait on sale for this one. I mean, a lot of people will probably do that. But anyway, that is pretty much for today. Thank you so much for watching this. If you're new, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.